About that, I ran out of time in the other video, so I had to post another one for the back page. Okay, as you can tell, I've already labeled what's going to be the long leg, the short leg, and the hypotenuse. So we have the long leg, so we have to work our way down from the long leg to the short leg. And remember, the long leg is equal to short leg divided by radical 3. So in this problem, it's going to be 6 divided by radical 3. We don't like having radicals in the bottom, so we multiply by the exact same radical, or that same square root. So we end up with 6 square root 3 over 3. Well, this time we do have something we could simplify. 6, it's almost like 6 square root 3. It's almost like if you were able to, you're actually trying to simplify those two. Almost like saying 6 over 3. 6 over 3 we know is 2. Okay? This square root stays with it. So now we know that our short leg is 6 radical 3. I'm sorry, 2 radical 3. Okay, from here, we need to find our long leg. And remember, hopefully they remember our hypotenuse. The hypotenuse equals short leg times 2. So we take 2 radical 3 times 2. Outside times outside equals, so we end up with 4 radical 3. So our hypotenuse is going to be 4 radical 3. Outside times the outside, 2 times 2 is 4. Radical 3 is on the inside. The other one doesn't have an inside, so we just keep it as radical 3. What makes number 2 so different is that you have a 45, 45, 90 over here, and then you have a 30, 60, 90 on the other side. So, but we can still work this out because we're smart enough. We're awesome enough. So in this particular problem, you'll notice that we have our 90 degree here. So we have our hypotenuse. In the 45, 45, 90, we have the hypotenuse, or I'm sorry, the leg is equal to hypotenuse divided by radical 2. So we have 8 divided by radical 2. Get rid of the radicals in denominators by multiplying by that radical. 8 times radical 2 is equal to 8 radical 2. Radical 2 times radical 2 technically is radical 4. The square root of 4 is just 2. We can simplify those two numbers. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so it's going to be 4 radical 2. Okay, so our leg's going to be 4 radical 2 and 4 radical 2. Now, this 4 radical 2 that we have is going to be our short leg because of this 30. So the short leg is going to be 4 radical 2. Remember, as long as we have the short leg, we can work our way out by multiplying. So if we want to find the long leg, which is this way, then we multiply by radical 3. So this is going to be 4 radical 2 times radical 3. Outside times outside, inside times inside. So the outside times the outside is 4 times 1, which is 4. Inside the radical times the other inside the radical, we end up with radical 6. So our long leg is going to be 4 radical 6. Now we need to find our hypotenuse. The hypotenuse, we can go from the short leg and multiply times 2 to get our hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is equal to short leg times 2. So the short leg is 4 radical 2 multiplied by our times 2. Outside times outside is 8. inside times inside, but there is no other inside, so that's just radical 2. So this is going to be 8 radical 2 for our hypotenuse. And this last one here, it's kind of tricky too. It's got a lot of, it's got two 30, 60, 90 triangles together. So we're trying to find x and the y, which is the hypotenuse and the short leg. So we have the long leg, and let's work our way down to the short leg. And we do that by dividing by radical 3. So we have 12 divided by radical 3. Get rid of the square root in the denominator by multiplying by that exact same square root. What you do the top, bottom, you have to do the top. So we end up with 12 radical 3 over 3 when we multiply straight across. Can these simplify? Yes, they can. So that's going to be, so it'll be 4 square root 3. Now we can find our hypotenuse by doing the short leg times 2. So we multiply by 2. So 4 radical 3 times 2. Outside times outside. Inside times inside. The outside times the outside, which is the 4 and the 2, which is 8. Inside times inside, well, we have an inside here in 3, but there is no inside of a radical over here. So we just keep it as radical 3. So our hypotenuse is going to be 8 radical 3. Put an x over 10 because we're not going to go over that one. But let's take a look at 11. We have an equilateral triangle whose altitude and length is 14. So this is my attempt of an equilateral triangle. The altitude, remember, creates a 90-degree angle. Okay? So if we have created a 90-degree angle, remember, this is going to be 60, this is going to be 60, and we've divided this up into a 30 and a 30. Okay, so we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. It says that the altitude, which is this portion right here, that's going to be 14. That's going to be our long leg. So we go from the long leg to short leg. We work our way down by dividing by radical 13. Sorry, radical 3. So long leg is equal to short leg divided by radical 3. In this situation, it's going to be 14 divided by radical 3. Multiply both the top and bottom by the denominator. Multiply straight across. We end up with 14 radical 3 over 3. Can these two simplify? They cannot, so it'll be 14 radical 3 over 3. So that's going to be the short leg. It's 14 radical 3 over 3. Now remember, to get to the hypotenuse, we take the short leg and we multiply it times 2. So in this situation, it's going to be 14 radical 3 over 2 times 2. Well, I'm sorry, 14 radical 3 over 3 times 2. Well, when you multiply straight across, you end up with 28 radical 3 over 3. Can these simplify? No, they cannot, so that is just going to be your answer. Alright, let's finish off by doing this last one. This last one says one side of an equilateral triangle is 8 centimeters. Find the measure of the altitude. Remember, the altitude is the one that goes from a vertices that creates a 90-degree angle. Equilateral triangle means all sides are the same. So all of these are going to be 8. We need to try to find the altitude, which is this portion here. Okay. Well, knowing that we have this altitude and this 90-degree angle, across from it is going to be her hypotenuse. And if we have the hypotenuse, we want to find the short leg. So remember, if we're going to go to find the short leg, we always divide. So if it's the hypotenuse, we're going to divide by 2 to get the short leg. Short leg equals hypotenuse divided by 2. So in this situation, it's going to be 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Okay? Pretty simple. So now if we want to try to find the long leg, we take the short leg. So long leg is equal to short leg times radical 3. So we multiply our way up. And in this situation, we have 4 times radical 3, which is just 4 radical 3. So your altitude or your long leg is going to be 4 radical 3, and your short leg in this situation is going to be 4. But it asks for the altitude, find the measure of the altitude, which in this situation is going to be the 4 radical 3, also known as the portion that I just drew the arrow to. Okay, so when I get back on Thursday, like I said, I'm going to have some more activities for you guys to kind of get some more practice for me being there and things like that. It's going to be difficult kind of at first, but the more you do it, the more you get the hang of it, and you guys are going to crush it. And I'm confident in you guys because you guys are a good group, you're smart, and the more practice you guys get, you guys are going to do well. Okay? Good luck, and I'll see you Thursday.